Greetings, welcome, and thank you for clicking. I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing Company, supporting your journey with healing experiences, coaching, and encouragement for life's changes, challenges, and transitions. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Ask the Stones, offering spiritual guidance and encouragement for life's challenging questions. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Ask the Stones. Our question is from Glenn. These days I've noticed that I'm feeling very tired. Do you have any tips on what I can do or take to feel less tired? Thank you. Well, Glenn, thank you for this question. I do want to say, first of all, Glenn, that I think that many people are feeling tired right now for where we are at this point in the unfolding of our shared world experience of the pandemic. We have all been pandemicking, if I can turn that into a verb. We have all been pandemicking for a year now. And so I know that many people are feeling tired. I know that many people are feeling worn out. And so, Glenn, if you and if others listening are just feeling kind of tired lately, I think that after a year of an altered way of living, I think that that is to be understandable. That is understandable. And even if this experience is something that has been beneficial for you, for many people it has not been beneficial. For many people it has been life altering in a very negative way. And the truth is that for others, it has been life-altering in a positive way. But either way, no matter whether it has been a positive change, a negative change, or maybe even for you a neutral change, it still has been a major life change. And what that means is that after a year of an altered life, we may have felt at a point, we're getting into this and this is okay and I can handle this. But then maybe we just get to a point where we're just kind of tired of it. So I do want to first recognize our shared experience and how we are at a year mark of the major life change that we've all experienced. And so, Glenn, I want to acknowledge that and how that may be impacting just your levels of energy and feelings of tiredness. So, Glenn, there is that. I think let's all just take a moment and recognize that we all just may be feeling fatigue just from the changes that we have experienced over the past year. So let us just please have a moment, and even everyone, if I could ask a moment of silence for those who have passed on, for those who have been majorly impacted by the pandemic negatively, and for the changes that it has brought about in our own lives. Even if those have been positive changes, I would appreciate if we could just take a moment to honor that. Thank you. And so, Glenn, I think that when we talk about feelings of being tired right now, I think it's important to recognize that. I think, Glenn, it's also important to recognize that even without having been pandemicking for a year, you still very well may be feeling tired right now. And so that is something that, of course, happened before the pandemic and, of course, will happen after the pandemic. And I think that one thing that's also important for us to recognize is just the pace of our lives, and how for many of us, for most of us, for all of us in some way, shape, or form, we oftentimes are very busy in our lives, and we are really experiencing lives that are full and are overflowing. And that these experiences of a frenetic, a busy life create a sense of being overwhelmed and a sense of tired. So, Glenn, I also want to recognize that culturally speaking, we often really create tiredness for ourselves just in the way that we live our lives and in oftentimes our inability to pause and to pause meaningfully, I think. So I also want to recognize, Glenn, that even without a pandemic, you may right now very well be feeling tired anyway. And I also want to add to that the fact that it is at the time when I am recording this and at the time when Glenn asked his question, it is not only a year of a pandemic, but also it is coming to be the end of winter. And oftentimes at this point, we will all be feeling some cabin fever and just be feeling kind of tired and fatigued from a long winter. And depending upon where you are and how your weather has been, this too may be having an effect. So I want to recognize all of those things, because when we talk about feeling tired, it's not necessarily just one thing. It's not like, oh, I just ran a marathon, no wonder I'm tired. But it is oftentimes a just a general feeling that we may not be able to put a finger on and point to it and say, aha, this is why I'm feeling tired. Aha, yes, I just went for a long hike yesterday. Of course I'm feeling tired. Oftentimes, there are reasons for our tiredness that we're just not quite sure what it's all about. So I think, Glenn, it's also helpful to talk about tiredness in a couple of ways. Of course, we have physical tiredness, that feeling of, oh, I did just run a marathon. My feet are killing me. I'm really tired. No wonder I'm tired. But we also have mental tiredness. Wow, I've just thought really hard and my brain is about to explode. And we have also felt emotional tiredness. We've also maybe experienced just a general feeling of malaise and feeling of being worn, and we're just not quite sure where that comes from. So, Glenn, your feelings of tiredness may be something that you know why you're feeling tired, and maybe you don't know exactly why you're feeling tired. So I think it's important for us to talk about where our tiredness may come from and what it all may mean. And most oftentimes, we really can't put a finger on it, and we can't say exactly why we're feeling tired and what it's all about. So in those instances, I do think that oftentimes what is at play is our cultural pace of more, and our cultural pace of pressure to do more, and our need to always be on. How many of us look at our phone multiple times per day? How many of us, every time we get a text message, hear a ding? How many of us feel the compulsion to be scrolling through news articles, or doom scrolling as it's called these days, when you're just looking at all of the bad news. This is something that we have all fallen into the trap of, and culturally speaking, we have really fallen into a big trap of this idea of always being on. So, there are plenty of steps that you can take to reduce that. I'm not going to go into those, Glenn, because they are numerous and because they're not really what you asked. You know, Glenn, you didn't ask, how can I not be on my phone so much? But I think it's important to acknowledge and recognize all of those things when we talk about this feeling of tiredness. So what do we do? What do we do to increase our energy? What do we do to feel less tired, as Glenn asks? I think sometimes we also just need to lean into the tiredness, Glenn, and to say, yes, I'm feeling more tired right now, and that is okay, and to accept and to honor that. This is something that I have personally been working on myself, where in my life I'm very active. I am rarely sitting down to watch TV. I don't even have a TV, so I don't watch TV. Or to watch a movie. I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched a movie. It's been several months. Many months. And that was only maybe a short DVD. Actually, it was a short DVD on Native American rituals. Fascinating, wonderful. But that was the last, quote, movie that I watched months ago. So what I'm saying, Glenn, is that I myself am a very active person, and I myself have really fallen prey to this go, 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 always doing kind of mentality. And I have found in my life that I have had times when I've felt tired and I've pushed against it and said, no, if I feel tired, I am going to, I can't give in to that. And so I in my life have pushed against it. And oftentimes, actually, it has helped, or I have not felt tired, and I have been able to push through it. And at other times, increasingly in my life, I'm recognizing that that is okay. And it's not a bad thing to feel tired, and that it is a way of your body and your mind and your heart and soul just saying, hey, slow down and take a break. It's okay to sit on the couch. It's okay to watch that documentary on Native American rituals. It's okay to read a book. It's okay to lay in your hammock and just stare at the sky. And there is nothing wrong with that. So, in my own life, Glenn, I have noticed the ebbs and the flows of my energy. I am a very high energy person, but I have noticed that when I feel the feelings of tired more in my life, I honor those. And I have found that my energy does wax and wane. And to honor those cycles and recognize them, and that rest is an important part of the life experience. I mean, we have only to look to nature. We have only to look to the earth, our beautiful mother, to recognize that rest is an essential component of life. You know, winter is just the ultimate example of this, where the earth goes to sleep. Everything goes to sleep. Animals and plants, all feeling tired at the end of a long summer and needing a break. And Glenn, you are no more important than the earth in terms of that need to take a break. As a matter of fact, Glenn, I would say that you are important enough to be taking a break. So let us look to the earth for that shining example. So when you do feel tired, what can you do, Glenn? Well, first of all, I do want to say you ask, what can I take? And I am not a big proponent of taking things like caffeine or energy drinks or things like that to boost our energy. I don't think that these really are the best way to increase feelings of energy. And I think that they will also result in a crash at the end of them. So I personally do not advocate, the little bottles of 8-hour energy, that drink, whatever that is. I have no desire to ever touch that myself. Some people use coffee. I actually do drink coffee and I love coffee, but I drink half decaf coffee, so I actually don't drink coffee for the caffeine. I drink it for the flavor. But Glenn, so I don't actually advocate these kinds of substances that are a quick boost of energy. I instead advocate tactics and techniques that are a little more body-centered. So, Glenn, what I mean by that is that in order to increase energy and feel less tired, I might advocate listening to some music. Something upbeat, something that gets you moving, something that gets you dancing. I might also recommend just going for a walk. This is a great energy booster. As a matter of fact, I am a big walker, and every morning I go for a walk. And so I'll rise at 5:30, and I'll get out of bed, put on my shoes, and I will go out for a walk around the block. And I might go for a walk for 20 minutes, 15, 20, 30 minutes. Actually, it often ends up being closer to 45 minutes, even sometimes an hour, because sometimes I'll do some stretching in with that. I'll come home, I'll do Tai Chi in my yard. So I start my morning with movement, and this is a real energy booster. So I might get out of bed feeling tired. Maybe I did not sleep especially well. Though I usually am a very good sleeper and I'm usually ready to get out of bed. But I will say this morning, for instance, Glenn, just specifically this morning, I did not have a great night of sleep. And so that was my own fault. I'm very regimented with my bedtime. I stayed up a little later than I usually do reading. And when I stay up just a little later, it actually really sets me back in terms of my sleep schedule. So I didn't sleep especially well last night. Woke up this morning feeling kind of tired, but I got my butt out the door. And let me tell you that after a few minutes of walking, I was refreshed, I was ready, I was awake, and no feelings of tiredness after that. So I think movement is really helpful. Music is really helpful. Put on some jazzy kind of music. Put on some rhythmic kind of music. Maybe dance. Maybe even play some instruments yourself if you do. Drumming is a great way to get some energy flowing. But like I said, listen to some jazzy kind of music. Sorry about that. I was playing earlier, so I'm a little, what we say, wetted out with the flute. A Apologies. But anyway, maybe that woke you up a little bit and got you feeling the need to get going. So movement, I think, is really the best way to get ourselves from feeling a little less tired. I really believe that the less you do, the less you want to do. And I know that this kind of contradicts what I was saying earlier about take a break, take a rest. Yes, this is all true. And I also believe that when we get into a life cycle of not doing much, when we get into a life cycle of spending a lot of time on the couch, watching TV, on our phones, when we have a more sedentary kind of life experience, we have a tendency to want to do less. The less you do, the less you want to do. How do we break that cycle? Small steps, literally small steps. So Glenn, when it comes to how do you feel less tired, it does not mean that you need to go run a marathon, jump off the couch and run a marathon. Nope, you can just get off the couch, do a few squats, do a few push-ups, jumping jacks, whatever, just to get the energy flowing. Now, another great way to get the energy flowing and to feel less tired is your breath. Your breath, Glenn, your breath. Breathing is actually a great way to get energized. And you can do this in several ways. So you can get some quick energy by be careful not to hyperventilate, but actually when you take in some quick breaths, this does help to energize you. You can add some movement to that. So quick breaths with flapping your arms like a chicken. Actually, this is a great way to increase your energy. So treating your arms kind of like a bellows. You can even add in some squatting movements to this so that you are really moving in all kinds of ways and breathing at the same time. Guaranteed pick me up immediately, Glenn, where this will really shake off the mental and physical cobwebs that you might have. So I also highly recommend breathing. Breathing is wonderful for clearing the energy, for creating energy, for helping us to feel less tired. I will also say that actually if you just incorporate breathing exercises like this in the morning, you will really drastically decrease your need for caffeine. And you may not even need or want caffeine for the pick-me-up in the morning. Stretching is also very good, Glenn. So I do recommend stretching too. And really, I'm just a big proponent of physical movement. And again, it does not have to be drastic physical movement. It can just be small things. Small steps, literally, taking some small steps, and of course, breathing. Those are my two biggest recommendations for you, Glenn. Small steps and breath. Those will really help you to feel less tired. Now, beyond that, that will assist you in the moment. Beyond that, Glenn, I also do recommend acknowledging when you are feeling tired and honoring that and honoring your body. And taking a break, and it is okay to take a break. And also railing against that need to always be on. You may even, Glenn, I don't know that the phone is a part of this experience. I don't know that electronics are making you feel tired or assisting with that. But Glenn, you really may want to take some breaks from always being on. because that really does drain our energy. I think that we underestimate just how powerful things like electronics are as a drain on our energy, and just how powerful of a drain it is that we are always on, that we are always feeling pressure to check our work email or respond right away, or to respond to the text messages and getting the phone calls, and our phone is always making noises at us. You can turn it off. You can turn it off. That is within your power, and I recommend it. You know, the earth turns off her phone in the winter. We have birds that are making less noise. We have bears that are hibernating. We have plants that aren't growing. And so you too can turn off your phone, Glenn. As a matter of fact, I personally always have my phone on silent. If you called me right now, it would not ring. I'll see that you called later, but when I look at my phone, but my phone doesn't make any noise. And so those are some small things that you can do too, Glenn. That is a small thing. And there, of course, are other small things that you can do to help you not feel that feeling of tiredness that your phone and that need to always be on that we have culturally may be contributing to. So I think those are some things to be aware of and to consider in all of this. Glenn, I'm going to pull a card for you. Let's pull for you. I'm going to pull a couple of cards. One card that I'm going to pull is from the Breathe Easy deck. And to give you a mantra at this time that may help you to increase your energy, I'm also, Glenn, going to pull an Archangel card. Let's see what the angels might have to say about feeling tired and how you can feel less tired. I noticed in your question, Glenn, that you didn't ask how you could feel more energized, but rather how you could feel less tired. And I want to encourage you to maybe put the focus, Glenn, not on feeling less tired, but rather on feeling more energized. And this is something that I do recommend for our life experience, is to say, oh, wow, Glenn, as I'm shuffling, a card just popped out. That's amazing. I'm going to set that down and finish my thought. But to focus, Glenn, on what you want rather than on what you don't want, and put the focus on feeling more energized rather than on feeling less tired. You know, feeling tired in and of itself is not a bad thing. It is a message to us, from us. And so I don't think that the tiredness is necessarily an enemy. But when you want to feel more energized, I think that that's where it's important for you to put your focus, Glenn, on feeling more energized rather than on less tired. And Glenn, the Archangel card that popped out while I was shuffling, it kind of just fell out of the deck. As I was talking, I picked it up and looked at it, and it was shocking and perfect. Thank you, angels. This card is outdoors. Archangel Jophiel says, go outside, get some fresh air, and connect with nature to relieve stress and gain new creative ideas. Yes, angels, thank you. 100%. This is really the best recommendation. How could I forget this, angels? Thanks for having my back. Number one, Glenn, get outside. And that's really, you know, when I say get out and go for a walk, that is really at the heart of that. So, you know, notice I didn't say go get on a treadmill, though of course that can help. But being outside is going to be a major energizer, Glenn. So get out there, get fresh air. It doesn't matter if it's 10 degrees Fahrenheit, which is cold for those who don't use Fahrenheit. It doesn't matter, Glenn. Get out there, take some deep breaths, move around, get into the air, get into the world. That is going to be a major pick me up. So thank you, angels. Now, Glenn, let's pull a mantra for you at this time to maybe help you feel energized, to maybe help you feel ready to go, and not less tired, but more energized. Glenn, I am meditating. This one is meditation. I am meditating. To be aware of only the rhythm of our breathing, slowly in and out. This is the way of meditation. I breathe in the stillness beyond time and space. I am filled with a nothingness that contains everything. I breathe out my mind's chatter. Yes, meditating is also a helpful way for us to feel energized. This actually is counterintuitive, isn't it? Because we think, oh, if I sit and do nothing, I'm not going to feel energized. But yes, you can feel energized after meditating when especially you are doing the focusing on the breath. So the in and the out of the breath. Glenn, I'm also going to send some Reiki to you for an increased feeling of energy. And everyone, I am going to send Reiki right now to all of us for an increased feeling of energy. So, if you would like Reiki sent to you for more energy, then wonderful. Just sit back, relax wherever you are, close your eyes if you wish. And if you don't wish the Reiki to go to you to feel more energized, don't worry, it will not. And Glenn, let's try a little flute again to jazz us up. Very well. I myself am ready to run a marathon. Well, not quite, but it is time for some movement. So, Glenn, get outside, breathe, move. That will help you to feel more energized. Thank you all for listening. I send you blessings and best wishes for your journey. I send you blessings, best wishes for your feelings of energy. Let us all get outside. Let us all breathe, listen to music, move, and do whatever helps us to feel more alive. Blessings to you and best wishes for your journey. Again, I am Christian of Standing Stones Healing Company, supporting your journey with healing experiences, coaching, and encouragement for life's changes, challenges, and transitions. Blessings and thank you. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ask the Stones. If you have a question for Ask the Stones, please send me an email at christian@standingstoneshealing.com or connect with me on Facebook at Standing Stones Healing. Thank you, and best wishes for your journey.